All right. So welcome everyone to the grants program reviews Q&A and demo session. Today we're gonna go through the main changes that we've been performing to the grants program since the pause of the grants program started back in January the 1st, and the binding governance proposals authored by YAML with community input have been approved by late December as well. So the grant support squad and the governance squad have been working for the last 2 months on all the changes required to make this new grant program a reality. So today we're gonna go through the changes and go to a quick demo. We've seen that there are some proposals already created, so that's great. I mean, we were expecting that, so it's amazing to see the community responding to that. So just FYI, I'm on the same room with Shadarasita, so we will be muting ourselves. Sorry if you hear some echo, but I think she wants to do a small introduction as well. So I'll unmute myself.
No, I think it's not needed. I mean, I just super excited of being here with you all guys. As you can see, this is a joint effort of many teams, all based on analyzing the idea of how to improve the grants program. So as Gino mentioned, from YAML, who has been the brain behind the proposal, needing all of our insights and analyzing possibilities to implement them. Then also the community of voters that supported these changes. And also the governance squad, who has worked really hard to implement these changes into our platform in time. So a quick recap of what we are doing in this session. We're going to go over a little bit of the context on how did we end up here, and then a demo session of the new form so you can get familiar with it. Please bear in mind that after the demo, we are moving to a Q&A session so we can answer all the questions that the community might have. And I think that's it. We can start with the slides.
Great, thank you so much. I will first share the link of the Slido so people can start leaving questions there. So we're here. Sorry about this. Is it open? Yes. Okay, so I just pasted the link. I'm not sure if could you check if that works?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, cool. Great, amazing. All right, so I'll share my screen real quick. All right, so let's start. So the DAO Community Grants Program rebooted session. So first of all, I think it's important to recap. Well, this is the Slido link and the code. It is important to recap how did we end up here, right? I mean, last year it was a tough one for the crypto ecosystem. We had the Luna meltdown in May 2022, where the mana price went down almost 60% in a week. We had the FTX collapse in November as well, and a lot of discussions around treasury sizes with native project tokens value. How do we interpret that? How do we interpret that as a sign of strength or weakness of a project? And in the Decentraland community, a lot of questions regarding how we were spending the money of our treasury started to arise, and some conversations on the forum and on the Discord server started to appear. And that probably led to a pre-proposal poll published by Shani and Esteban regarding the pause of the DCL grants program until Q1. That was the first approach to it. While that started to happen and the conversation started to bubble up, in mid-December, YAML created a series of governance proposals. I mean, they have been in the making from pre-proposal poll to draft proposals, and they went through the last stage by that date. So there are 4 proposals, one regarding the structure of the vesting contract, another one regarding to the BP thresholds per for the grants program. The other one was about creating new categories and requirements. And finally, we had one for a budgeting system of the grants program. On December 17th, the governance proposal to pause the uptake of new Decentraland grants for 2 months was published. And on January the 1st, the pause effectively started. And our team, the governance squad, started working on the new program requirements. The grant support squad was already working on all the process and mechanisms to change this. And today, March 1st, the new grants program is released and the grants programs got resumed. So, what has changed in the grants program? So first of all, and I think this is like the most important change, we have a budgeting system. This means that we will have a quarterly budget configured by the DAO committee per category. And that budget, it will represent atop this like 70% of the mana tokens that the DAO vests every quarter from the vesting contract, the 10-year vesting contract that the DAO has. So this is important because this will allow us to know how much money we will be spending on the project and also strategically prioritize budget per categories. So in the governance proposal regarding the budgeting system, a breakdown of budget was proposed there and it was voted. So platform 40%, inward content 20%, core units 15%, sponsorship 10%, accelerator 7%, social media content 5%, and documentation 3%. It's important to mention that this breakdown of budget and this distribution of the budget will be or can be changed by the community over a governance proposal. So this was like the first iteration of this. It was proposed by EML and with community input, but it wasn't the original proposal. But of course, this can and it probably should change over the quarters. It's also important to mention that since each category will have a specific budget, if you submit a grant for a specific category and there is no money available on the budget at the moment of the creation, that you won't be able to publish the grant. That's like the first step. But the second step is if the grant got approved, but at the moment of the enactment, there is no more like real budget available for that category, the proposal will get into an out of budget category and you will be able to resubmit it on the next quarter. Of course, you can do a resubmission for less money if it's less money on the budget, and you can find a way to work with that budget constraint or wherever you want. But this is like probably the most important change on the grant system. The second thing that will change is the structure of the vesting contracts. Until now, we had vesting contracts from one-time payments to 6 months. That will change. We will have vesting contracts from 1 to 12 months. You will be able to vest up to 20,000K from 1 to 12 months. And if you're asking for more than 20,000K, you will be able to vest it in 3 to 12 months. Another change is that the vesting contract will be stepped. So you won't be vesting every second as the contracts that we have right now. You will be vesting every 30 days. So the grant requestor, the grant beneficiary, will be able to decide if they want their money to be vested on the 1st or on the 15th day of the 30-day period. So the money will be made available every 30 days on the 1st or the 15th day of that period. Another thing that is important and something that has been causing a lot of controversy in the community because of the process and the concept and the terminology, wherever, is that now the vesting contracts will be, they can be paused. So the accountability committee or the DAO committee, wherever, they will be able to pause the contract without having to actually revoke the contract and enact a new one. So this is better because it will allow the grant support squad and the accountability committees to do research on the grants without having to actually destroy and create a new contract, which creates operational overhead costs, and it will it also creates a sense of disconnection between vesting contracts for specific grants. Another thing that will change, and this is also really important, is the voting power acceptance threshold. As you know, in the past, we had tiers, like from tier 1 to tier 6, with different requirements, different amount of money that you could request, and a different voting power required for the proposal to be passed. So now the threshold will be defined based on the amount of money that you're asking. We believe that this is like really cool because it will be an incentive for people to be super mindful about how much money are they asking to the DAO.
And if you have
Because
2 extra nickels in your pocket, maybe throw those in the
well, I think that's. So can you mute? I don't know if Emily's there or okay, that's it. Cool. So this is important because if you're asking more money, you will be. I mean, you will have to get more voting power in order for your proposal to get accepted. Another change, and this is something that we've been discussing in town halls and with the community and in the working groups as well, is that all the code produced under a grant has to be published under an open source software license, and all the content produced under a grant has to be published under a Creative Commons open license as well. So this is important because we had conversations previously regarding projects that release code or release products without actually opening the code. And it's weird because you're getting money from the DAO Fund, which is an open source organization, and Decentraland, which is an open source project. Another change is the categories. So as I said, we'll have new categories. So basically to define the goals of your grant and to also get more details on how your grant will be adding value to the central ecosystem and to better categorize the types of projects. So as I said, core units, platform, documentation, in-world content, social media content, sponsorship, and accelerator. I think accelerator is pretty interesting because I know that in the community we've been having conversations regarding, are we funding like a private for-profit initiative? Does it make sense to do that? Are we actually serving as an accelerator for startups without getting any return of investment? So it is nice that now we'll have a category specifically for that. And each one of those categories, we have some specific questions on the form of the grant request. So that's something important because it will provide more visibility to the community and to the grant support squad on the details of each one of those grants based on those categories. Okay, what has not changed in the program? So first of all, the monthly updates, still the same, once every 30-day period from the moment the proposal. That's mandatory. So if you asked for a 12-month vesting period, you will have to provide 12 updates. If you ask for 3 months, you will have to provide 3 updates. Of course, additional updates, if needed or asked, are available, and they're going to be published via the governance tab. And proposal authors or co-authors can publish those monthly grant updates. Also, the grants dashboard will be like working as expected. Nothing changed there. I mean, we had some minor changes to support the currently running legacy grants. So at the moment, we're using different categories, we're using tiers, we're using different stuff. So we created like a filter on the grants dashboard that says legacy grants. So you will be able to see all the legacy grants running under the previous program there. And all the active grants will show up there with their vesting status and the latest updates published. The grant support squad will still be here supporting the grantees for transparency and taking care of the DAO treasury, so their operations won't change. Of course, we will have the addition of the accountability committee. That's not part of the restructuring of the grants program, and probably when the binding governance proposal for electing members of the committee ends, we'll have another session like this for that. But the grant support squad will be operating as usual. Okay, so again, this is the Slido for questions. I would like to do a quick demo on the proposal form. So bear with me until I do this. Okay, I'm logged in. We got three grants published today. Nice. Okay, so as you see, grant request option is now enabled. When you click here, you will be able to choose a category that suits your project. As I said, accelerator, core units, documentation, inward content platform, social media, and sponsorship. Something really cool is that we made available a document, because we know that most of us, when we create grants, we don't do it on the governance tab, but maybe on a Google Doc or something like this. So we linked a Google Doc with all the questions here. So you can like copy and paste and do whatever you want on Google Docs, and then come to the governance tab to actually publish the thing. So let's go with platform. Okay, so here I can see that the remaining category budget is around 450K, 462K. So no grant was published or approved for this category. So the remaining category is like 100%. It's available there. You will have a helper here explaining how the categories has allocated a percentage of the budget and how that works. So let's say I want to ask for $15,000. So I will be able to ask for a 1 month project duration. 1 month means that you will have 1 month of cliff and then 1 month of project duration. The cliffs are still there. That's also something that didn't change. So you won't be able to invest money for the first 30 days. So 15,000, 2 million in 14 days in 1 monthly payment, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I ask for 200,000K. So now I need 9.2 million VP, and I won't be able to select 2 or 1 month. It's only, I mean, it starts on 3 months. I'm also going to be able to select if I want to get the funding on the first day or on the 15th day of the 30-day period. It's not a calendar month, it's a 30-day period. Also, something interesting is if you ask for less than 20K, you will be able to select the payment token in Mana or DAI. This is the form, as you know. Well, something important is that we have a validation here. Fail at completing something, you will see an error here. So title, abstract, description, budget. This is the same fields that we have right now. We changed specification for budget specification, so people is super clear on how we're going to spend the money. And then we have the final consent here. For example, since this is a platform grant, you have to agree to publish the source code and its derivatives under an Apache license. Let's go, for example, to a category that has some specific questions. So we have a category specific assessment here. So if you're producing content, what type of content are you planning to produce? So it's a scene example and some code examples. And I'm planning to produce 15 pieces of content. And I agree to publish all the content under an attribution CC BY 4.0 license. Okay, I think that's it regarding the form. If you go to grants dashboard, now you will see the legacy grants here. So those are the legacy categories. Of course, there are no active grants at the moment with the new categories. So you'll be able to see these ones. And you'll also be able to see the available quarterly budget and the spend up to that point. So it's 0% because nothing got approved. For the next 2 weeks, that will be the case. And if you go to each one of the categories, you will be able to see the quarter of that category. All right. Okay, I think that's it. Gia, want to add something, or if not, we can go with the questions.
Yeah, let's get into the questions.
Cool. Okay, I see some questions on the chat. Great. And I'll go to Slido.
Yes, it is in 6 months. The 20K.
Okay, do different categories have different budgets? Yes, that's correct. That is, as I said, defined on the original governance proposal regarding the budgeting system. Here you can see the actual distribution that was voted, and it's going to be it's going to be active until someone decides to publish a proposal to change it. So yeah. Are we positive 20K to be vested in up to 12 months? Apparently, I believe it's up to 6 months. We can check the governance proposal, but I think it's like, I mean, we're considering the lower part of the time frame, but we can check the proposal.
Yeah, I check on the current platform, and it's implemented that way up to 6 months if you're requesting less than 20K.
Okay, cool, great. So my bad.
Maybe something on the slide or on the slides. Yep.
Nice. Cool. Any other questions, comments, doubts?
Yeah, Gino, how you doing? This is Chris. I have some questions I'd like to ask. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so the first question I want to ask is, what happens if the quarterly budget isn't finished? Does it carry on to the next quarter, or it automatically restarts from the initial budget that you guys proposed?
It goes back to the DAO treasury and it's restarted.
Okay, got it. Thank you. The next thing is, today we didn't speak about the revocations committee. Is that because you guys would like to have it on another call, or we're not going to talk about it at all? Because the GSS is trying to instate the revocation committee. So I'm just curious, when, as a community, we'll have this conversation. Is it for today or another call?
Yes, Chris, this particular this particular session was to go through the grants program form. We will have another session particularly to discuss that. So yes, I mean, we will publish it as soon as we have it. Okay, all right. And I just, with that being said, regardless of whatever we're going through, the GSS, they work hard. I've been, talking with them for the past 2 months, and they work hard. So I don't take any credit away from them. I just think that there needs to be some transparency, and I feel like things are being biased. And so for the revocation committee, I would like, the same way we voted for Tobic, how people were able to come and ask the committee members questions and speak with them and engage, and the community was able to vote. I think that needs to be the same way for the revocations committee, because if you, as a GSS, and I'm not taking anything away from you guys work hard, but if you guys as a GSS appoint people for the revocations committee, we're back in the same problem that we had. Because Yarissa, when you wrote the proposal, you said that you guys were under stress because people felt like you guys were a conflict of interest. If you are now putting in your own people for revocations committee and the community hasn't voted for them, then it's the same problem. The community will say, Yarissa's people from the revocation committee voted no. So I think Yarissa, to make the GSS clean and transparent and there's no conflict of interest, I think the community needs to vote for the revocation committee. If you guys want to propose these people, no problem. It's okay. You guys did the vetting. But I think we as a community should vote, and it shouldn't be, you put 10 of your own people there and say, do you vote for all 10? Yes or no? I just don't think that's fair to the community and fair for all of us that invest so much time and energy and we're all trying to build a platform, but we don't have
a way to voice our own opinions about certain people. That's number one. So again, I'm not trying to cause any rife or anything. I just feel as a community, we need to be heard. And I've been quiet for so long, and now it's time for me to speak. That's number one. And the last thing I want to speak about is, these past 2 months, I spoke with Urissa and Zeno and et cetera. And like I say, they worked extremely hard. I think there needs to be something called a term limit. And I just submitted a proposal now. Zeno has good ideas, Urissa has good ideas, but there needs to be a way where other people can also be able to apply for the GSS position, the Grant Support Squad, because you guys are also grantees. Just like how we are and we apply for grants, you guys are as well. So if somebody wants to come along and wants to apply for that position, I think that we should at least give them the opportunity to hear their voice. I'm not saying, Urissa can't reapply again, Zeno can't reapply again. I'm not saying that. If everybody wants Zeno to reapply, okay, no problem. If they want Urissa to apply, okay, no problem. But I think as DCL, as a community, we should give the people the chance to apply to GSS. It shouldn't be where it's like, only Urissa, Zeno, and Paul, and no disrespect. I'm saying with all respect, no disrespect, and saying, only you guys can stay in this position for so long. You guys, just how we as grantees, no, I'm not talking fractilians. When you say reply every 6 months, that's for their salary. I'm not talking about their salary. I'm talking about for a term. I think if other people want to apply for this position, I'm talking about term elections. If other people want to apply for this position, I think it should be open. And what it does is it allows us to hear new ideas. It allows us to hear how we can optimize and run the GSF more efficiently. And maybe, for example, if Urissa, you still get elected and people, and you can still hear new ideas, Urissa. And these new ideas you heard, you can also implement it inside the GSS. But currently right now, there isn't an election program. So I'm gonna wrap it up. So the impression that I'm getting is you guys are selected indefinitely. There is no elections to have somebody else come in this position. You guys also appointed a revocations committee that you guys feel is okay. We're going back to the bias thing. We're going back to Urissa, where you guys will feel, where the community will complain and say, you guys have conflict of interest. I see what you guys are trying to do. I acknowledge it, but we need to make sure we do it from a macro point of view, or we're going back in the same circle we started. So I'm trying to be very professional, and I'm not trying to bring in my own situation with MetaTrackers, but I think that this needs to be handled in a decentralized way. I have nothing against these revocation committee members. I know all of them. 95% of them I like. But I'm saying let the community vote on them. So that way, nobody can say GSS was biased. That way, everybody can say, you know what? No, the community voted, it's passed. But right now, we got a list of 10 people, and you guys say vote yes or no. That's not right. And these are your people, and you guys don't have elections. And so can we count on them to revoke you guys? No, they're not going to revoke you guys because you're going to have to pay them salary. It's a conflict of interest for them to revoke you. So again, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't take any credit from GSS. I worked with them for 2 months. They even though I don't agree with what they do, I agree with some of the things they do, they work hard. But there is some bias here going on, and I see it, and I think we all see it. So in order to clear this out, I would like for this thing to be held transparently. I'm not trying to cause any problems, not trying to cause rift, but we need more transparency. And right now what's going on isn't the right way. With that being said, I leave it like this, and I want to close this off positively.
Wait, I just wanted to add one thing.
Yes. Sorry?
No, I just wanted to add one thing.
Thank you so much, Chris, for raising this. As we said before, this is not the scope for this call, but I would be happy to respond to these two topics real quick. First one is that regarding the revocations committee, today we do have a poll. If that poll doesn't succeed, then we are discussing next ways of moving forward. Let's remember that this came with one publication that we did where we were defining the committee, and then we divided that because the committee was being selected there to divide it into two phases. Number one is how the process would take place, and then the second one, like which are the people involved. The process is already done, so this is what the process we voted for this particular creation of this committee. If this poll gets a no, then we will move forward with other possibilities, and then is the moment where we can discuss all this. And finally, regarding the second point, which is the grant support squad and the renewals and the time and the differences, so everyone could apply for the grant support squad, depending on what we need in terms of our responsibilities and how the grants program is changing, because it should change along with time. We open calls that are public if we need to address like different things, or if we need to build up more capacity. And the same thing will be if that capacity is no longer needed. So for the last thing that we needed was to bring a new member. And then with the with the grants program paused, we also paused that open call. And now with the resuming of the grants program, we are resuming that. So if we need to join, if someone to join our team, we did that open call public, and everyone who wanted to be involved into this team could vote. And that is the process that we have today. That doesn't mean that it cannot change in the future. And maybe if we are going to think about the future of core units and how we are creating them, then that is a broader topic that of course we can address with the community. But we are following the process that we have today. Sorry that we went off of the topic of this session, but I thought it was important just to clear that out.
No problem. And thank you for addressing it. I understand that you're right. That's currently what we have right now, so I respect it. I just submitted a proposal in DCL, so I hope everybody can give it a chance and look at it, so we can change the policy if you feel it's correct. If you do, vote for it. If not, don't vote. It's okay. No pressure. No problem. Thank you, Yurissa, for the explanation.
You're very welcome.
All right, folks, we have some more questions on the Slido. What happens if my grant passes and there is not available budget? So first of all, when you create a grant proposal, the system will check if there is, at the moment of the proposal, funds available. And if there is funds available, you will be able to create a proposal. Then, when your proposal ends, there is a second check to see if there is budget available for that category. So if there is budget for that category, the proposal will get enacted, and if not, it will get into the out of budget status. So the proposals will be processed on a strictly time order based on the moment the proposal ends. So you will be able to resubmit the proposal as it is on the next quarter, or you will be able to resubmit the proposal with a lower budget to use the available budget for that category. So Jester asked, so over 20K, we got to wait 3 months in order to fund the project with the grant? No. So what that means is you will get 3 payments, so 3 monthly payments, so 6.6K each month. You will have to wait 30 days as it is right now. That's what we call, or what it is called in the vesting contracts terminology, the cliff period. So over the first 30 days, you won't be vesting any money. And at that time, it will start to vest every 30 days on the first day or the 15th day of the 30-day period, the amount of money you requested divided by the amount of months you asked the vesting contract to be created.
And just to add something to that point, is that up to 20K, they can be paid one time payment with this 30-day cliff, or it can be divided into months, up to 6.
Oh, okay. Thank you for enlightening me. That was some question I had, because I'm going to propose the grant today. Thank you.
Just a clarification over the vesting contracts. Those are monthly payments. So the cliff period, as Gino said, during the first 30 days, you don't receive nothing. And on day 31, you receive the payment of the first month. then you have to wait another 30 days and you don't receive more money. And on day 62, you can claim the second month. And that's how it works.
Sorry, Yemel, it wouldn't be on the day 31. It would be or the 15th day after the period, like the cliff period ended, right? So if you decided to get the money on the 1st or on the 15th, you will get the money there. Like the step will be there.
Yeah, correct. What I say is if you pick the vesting on the first day of the month. Otherwise, we'll create the vesting contract starting on the 5th.
Okay, thank you. Very much appreciate it.
Any other question? So I'm reading the chat to see if there's something.
I have one more question because regarding of the budget. Let's say somebody and I do a grant proposal for 100K and there's like 250 like let's say 150,000 budget available, and we do the grant on the same day at the same time. What will happen? We will get the grant budget because there's not enough to pay them both. So that's a question I also have.
So the granularity goes, I think, up to like seconds. So it's a weird situation. It could happen, but it would be like a real corner case. Maybe the engineers on the team can respond how that would work, but
it's a timestamp. So when you submit, the server receives one of the two first, and it has a timestamp there. So even though you submit at the same time the bottom, the server will receive one first, and that's the one who will receive the budget.
Okay, thank you. So it's nearly impossible to... Okay, thank you. I got it.
Something that I would expect to happen is that we start receiving many proposals by the start of the quarter, because the budget replenished that time. And also we'll start seeing updates from grantees organized on like the first day of the month or the 15 days of the month. Yeah, that's kind of derived from the rules of the new grants program. I have a question, Shino. It's regarding the setting the budgets, the allocation of the budgets. At the moment, like if we want to change it, we have to go through a governance proposal, like a poll, a draft, and a governance proposal to change the distribution.
Weird options. It doesn't make sense. You're asking.
Well, my question is about like, are we going to have eventually in the future like a category of proposal, like a binding proposal to set those budgets?
Yeah, one thing that we've been discussing for quite a long time, and I feel it might be a good time to implement, is having like a treasury category or something like that. Maybe with a high VP threshold, but not so long voting time. And maybe we could have these type of proposals there. That could be one idea. The other idea could go through the whole governance process, but I think it might be too much. But yeah.
Sorry, there is one thing that
Thank you. Treasury category makes sense.
I would like to add is that if you find any bugs on the grants form, because that might happen, we do have in the DAO Discord one channel that it's called support. So please write them there, and the team will take over them as soon as they can.
All right. So we have more questions, comments, concerns, doubts. So something important to mention is that we updated the documentation as well. So I
can share the link.
Okay.
And also notice that you will have inside one that says grants and then another one that says grants legacy. And these are like the rules today for the grants that have already passed and that will be in term until June this year. So once they are done, then we will this one, but just to make sure that it is understood that the grants that have passed before these changes, they will be following the before framework, like the previous framework. I'm just reading the question. There is something about having a power to revoke grants. It's me the wrong way, but I missed that proposal and my chance to complain along. Two revocations get decided on. So what the process that we have now is that any member of the community can raise comments about grantees. And those concerns are reviewed, and then we open the case. And by we, I mean C is the lead of that department inside our team. But basically, he opened the case, which means that we need to like a few questions internally, discussing like that we have all the data that we need, or to ask the person who is raising these questions, or ask the member of the grantee to help us understand the case. And then we send all that information, like that data, to the revocations team, which is what it's going to happen when it is implemented.
I'm reading the chat, and it's a very interesting conversation that was sparked by Chris' comments. This is Yemel from the DAO committee. Just a clarification, maybe it helps to enlighten other people as well. So in the DAO, we have two kinds of teams. We have the committees, and we use the World Committee to refer that that's a group of people appointed by the community for a particular responsibility. Also, let me mute there. And also we have, like, for any other projects, we have the grants program. So we like to see grants as like independent teams that have their own budget, and they can like decide who they want to work with. So like defining the roadmap or changing the procedures or the personnel of a grant, I think it's out of scope. The interesting thing about grants is that they need to renew their budget every up to 12 months using the new program, and depending also on the budget they require. So like if the grant is not performing well, or there are a lot of concerns from the community, Like the worst case scenario, the team won't get budget for the next term. I think that's how we mitigate like having people on power for perpetuity. Like if this is a continuous concern, that maybe the team won't renew their budget, and that's it. Also, another comment is like nothing prevents to have like 2 grant support squads. Like if someone else wants to create another team, that is like to have a second opinion and they do their own due diligence, maybe that's decentralized enough to have at least 2 teams providing their option. I believe the at the moment, like when the grant support squad raises the report with all their like reports and suggestions, that concern came to the DAO committee, and basically we don't invest a lot of time because we like reviewing the case and that. And that's because like we understand that our responsibility is just to enact what the community voted on the governance platform. Like we have to do the operations and not be the judges. We don't want to be in that position. And that's why like having a revocation committee that has the final says makes a lot of sense to be a committee, like someone that is appointed by the community. So that revocation committee is something that people should be able to apply for. And I agree, when setting this committee, there was a process that was voted on the governance app. The governance proposal mentioned like having a first setup of the committee appointed by the grant support squad, just because we don't know how to do committees very well. After seeing Tobik's process, the DAO committee was, in my opinion, kind of painful, like very long. And there are many lessons learned. Maybe, as you said, like bringing all the candidates to a call and a meeting, it's a really good idea and a good, very nice lesson to be learned. I believe when the governance proposal was voted on for setting up this revocation committee, we didn't even have like that community call, the open debate, as you call it.
I'm sorry, no, continue. I'm sorry, you were talking.
No, that's wrapping up like my thoughts about it.
Do you mind if I respond to you? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one with Tobik's situation, I do understand that it was a very long process, and I do understand for the community, what it caused as far as the riff. But Tobik's situation was the most transparent situation I think could have happened. I'm not saying whether I side or I don't side with Tobik. What I'm saying was Tobik's election process, everybody knew what happened. Everybody had their own input. Everybody gave their own feedback. I think it was so transparent to the community, regardless if Esteban, with all due respect, voted for him. It was clear, it was out there. Everybody knew what happened. And I think that needs to be the same thing with the revocations committee, regardless of if we like it or we don't like it. Honestly, you guys know I don't like To the Moon. I don't like him. But if he wants to apply and he wants to do it, allow him to it. Allow him. It's okay. But I think that we should, like I said, be transparent. I think the grant facilitation squad, they work so hard to create this system. They spend so much time. There was so much bickering back and forth within the community. We finally created something that was working, or at least we agreed on. And then with the revocation committee, we throw everything we did away. And then we say, we're going to just put these people in. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. That's number one. Number two, I don't know. I love HP. So I don't know if HP was just joking right now or if he was serious. But HP just said in a chat, go create a new grant support squad. I hope HP was joking. I don't know. But no, HP, with all due respect, we should not go and just waste another 100,000 to create a new grant support squad. Urissa, Zeno, Paul Wynn, with all due respect, they worked hard. They put a lot of time into what they created, and we all need to work together They built a foundation, so we now need to continue on this foundation and allow new people to apply for this position. Maybe they get it, maybe they don't. Maybe it's still Urissa, it's still Pablo, it's still Zeno. But there needs to be a way where everybody can all work in one accord for Decentraland through Grant Support Squad, what we created. Because just how you want the coding to be open source, just how you want people to give you open source technology, I think the Grant Support Squad should be open source to Decentraland. I think Grant Support Squad is DCL because we are funding them. So what I'm trying to say is I would hope that we can do just how we do it in America or other countries, term elections. They can reapply. But if you're saying, oh, no, just don't reinstate their budget. If we don't reinstate their budget, then what happens? Then we have to create this whole new system again. Why not we work smart and not hard and start working to create this system now while we have the people in power? I just feel like, especially what happened with my case, how, I feel like there were some biased views inside. And I'm not going to talk about it because I know this is not the right time, but I just feel like there were biased views inside. So if we can make it where we open it up to the public, I think people have to do things objectively. I feel like we're currently right now working subjectively. And so I said, I want to keep it very professional. I just hope that, people can give it some thought. I submit a proposal. You guys can comment inside. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, then maybe we don't need it. But I just hope as a community, we can give it some thought and we can, as a community, run in a decentralized and a democratic way. That's all I want to say. I'm not trying to cause any strife. I just think that there needs to be some things re-looked into. But thank you, Yamil, for your feedback.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have any other question regarding the new grant system? We publish an updated documentation as well. It's on docs, players, DAO, and then grants. I'm sharing the link here. So if you have any question, you can check out the documentation as well.
I do have one question, but it's I want to write a proposal today. But how can I schedule for a town hall meeting, for my project, so I can show my project to everybody else? Is that a possibility? Schedule somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know if Pablo and Sino are here, but in my understanding, there is a Calendly or a tool that you can book for a place in the next town hall, and there are some slots per town hall, so you may have to book in advance, maybe if not the next one, is the other one every 2 weeks.
The only thing that I could add, Yamil, I'm sorry, is that these slots are for active grants, not for projects.
Oh, okay. Right. So
not
my
for proposal.
Yeah. Okay. So my proposal needs to get passed, and then I can schedule a meeting and then show my project and what we are going to do and about to do after it's passed, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it's a good idea to have pitch sessions. So for people who are at the moment requesting for a grant and the votation period is open, maybe we may have another space for that. It's a good, interesting idea.
Yeah, it will be really thoughtful, to show people so they know what every proposal is going to do and about to do, and give them a chance to talk about their project. So I think that's a good idea as well. Maybe we should look into that. Thank you. Also, I want to say something real quick about Zeno. Zeno, I want to publicly thank you for your support in the DMs. You've helped me a lot, and I just wanted to do it publicly. Thank you for all your support and being there for me and giving me all the information, because I was clueless about what I needed to do. Thank you very much.
All right, folks. I think we're good. Is there any other like final comments or questions? And if not, we can wrap it up. Thanks so much, everyone, for attending this session. We are open for feedback regarding the experience on the governance tab in our support channel. If you see bugs, if you see something that it's off, please report it there. We have time allocated during this week to make this a high priority and fix anything that it's out there that it's not working or wherever. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Also, do not hesitate to reach to the governance, to the grant support squad for any questions regarding the process, the requirements, and the mechanisms. We are here to respond all your questions. So thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the week, and hope see you soon in the metaverse. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a good day.